Do you remember having fun playing Monopoly with your family and friends? Of course not. Who had fun playing Monopoly? It was a very cutthroat and competitive game. I'm pretty sure the most of you people out there were wishing that Grams would cut you the family discount of $100 on your stay at Boardwalk. The Force and the Battalion. I got one Tycoon game in front of me with the expansion pack, but we're of course here not to talk about that one. We are here to talk about Monopoly Tycoon, which came out, late September of 2001, licensed by Hasbro, as all Monopoly things are. And this appears to be one of those forgotten about games of the days of yore. So it's time we shine a spotlight on it. We of course have to start off with the distinction that I am not talking about that mobile remaster that they did evidently a few years ago for iOS and Android. That game looks like it has a bunch of the traditional mobile game pitfalls that make me refuse to play. No, we are talking about the bona fide original 2001 classic, developed by Infogrames Interactive, purveyors of such quality games as the Driver series. I vividly remember that logo showing up every time I put Driver 2 into the PlayStation back in the day. So, just what is Monopoly Tycoon? Well, as you may have heard in the intro, it's serious business. Basically, it is a business simulator with a Monopoly sheen over the top and a Monopoly theme. Before we get into the deep gameplay elements, we of course have to talk the standard template. We got an additional one here that I'm going to have to talk about first, the technical section. So we'll go over the technicals of running the game first. That way, if I sold you on serious business, you can pause the video, go out and play it, and then come back. It's for PC. Some PC gamers, some aging PC gamers, have an appreciation for how hard it is to run an old game on a modern computer. Sometimes it's tough. I can tell you that from experience. I tried to run SimCopter on Windows 10 native one time, and it just did not work out. Anyway, I am happy to report that this game is pretty easy to get running on a modern system. There is a website known as PC Gaming Wiki. Punch the game name into that, and you will find a few things. One, a mirror to the latest patch, version 1.4, which you should always try to play the latest versions of games. And also, there is a fan-made sound patch, because for a very technical reason, this game crashes whenever you have the background music turned up on computers with Windows Vista and later. Vista and later. That is the age of which we are dealing with here, folks. So, for the very, very technically minded, Monopoly Tycoon was one of 3 PC games that used, some audio delivery thing from Direct3D that they killed in Windows Vista. So, it would crash when it tried to load up those WMA files. If you download that audio fix from PC Gaming Wiki, it'll fix that issue. And also, I think this game is now considered abandonware. I tried to look for it on the internet to buy, and I can't seem to find a copy of it. That won't stop you from downloading it for free, because it is abandonware. So, if anybody in the future picks up the license to this game, I'm sorry. But yeah, I don't see that happening based on the view counts of some of the videos on YouTube. I don't think the market's big enough for that. You know, serious business. So, anyway, now we get on to the traditional dog template of reviewing a video game, starting with the graphics. Now, keep in mind this is 2001. We're hot off the heels of stuff like The Sims and, Quake. Whatever the latest Quake entry was back then. I think it may have been Quake 2. We got Diablo 2. It's in that general era of gaming. So, what does it look like? I can't complain. I've definitely played worse looking games before. But it's certainly not the best, especially from that era. Especially whenever you consider that Grand Theft Auto 3 came out around that same time period. And that game looked freaking awesome back in the day. There's no special Bafo graphics effects. There may be like a basic fog to reduce the draw distance. Other than that, all the buildings are simple polygons and the cars look hilarious and the people may have a total polygon count of like 3 or 4. I'm of course exaggerating, there's probably more than that. I mean, they do the job. I can tell what buildings are what. I also like these kind of primitive looking signs where they just put a sprite on the building and call it good. Especially on the top. There's like no support structure for those things, guys. None. Zero support. So, the sound. Sound quality in this game is actually fairly good. Quality of the sound effects are great. The actual sound design, people shuffling their feet, and you hear the cars blaring and engines revving up, and it just generally, it sounds like a city. You hear the various UI effects of like a cash register going off every time you make money, which is a lot of times in this game. Voice acting in this game, yes, it has voice acting, is probably intentionally, like, kitschy.
What? You'll be the hero, Captain.
Oh, good.
Yeah! What? Yeah!
The music in this game, though, is quite awesome. So, as you progress through the ages, we'll get to that in a second. As you progress through the ages, the background music changes to reflect that time. So you start off in the 1930s. In the 1950s, it's the beginning of rock and roll and R&B, so you hear a little bit of that. '60s, no love for psychedelia in this game. '70s, of course. Great 80s homage. I misremembered. I thought the 90s had traditional grunge and rock music, but no, it has this techno beat. Sound design is great. Nothing to complain about there. This is about the era whenever sound samples and recorded sounds and great quality sounds started becoming the norm, though. So I almost expect good quality sound from games from the late 90s on. So it's a treat whenever I don't get to hear that. Looking at you, Simcopter.
Police dispatch acknowledged. Ambulance
On to the plot. This game has a really simple plot. So, it's driven... This is mainly a scenario-based game where you set up the conditions for winning and you achieve that goal. So we'll get into more of that in the gameplay section. But the plot here is that you are a person full of business fervor starting off in 1930. Yes, 1930, when a lot of successful things actually happened. So maybe that's like your legacy, where the business community will be like, if you make it past the 1930s, you really did something right type thing, where you get to be part of the business elite that would continue on. But anyway, yeah, so you start in the 1930s with a very basic set of buildings that you can build, as well as $5,000 to your name, which was a lot of money back then. It was actually a fair amount of money. So, is that one of the things you can use to brag about? Like, say when you're playing during the 90s, you can be like, back when I started my boot shop, you could buy a pair of boots for like $1.50, and now they're like $150. Is that what that's all about? You start off your business career, you climb up the business ladder, make more money, build more things, own more things, etc., etc. Basically, just be big business person. So, there's your plot. You either win or lose the game. It's kind of like real business. Gameplay, you start off each game in either campaign or scenario mode, and you can set various winning conditions. Now, some people like to play this game in short spurts whenever, like, you can set a goal that you can definitely achieve really quickly. But I'm in it for the long haul with this. Whenever I play this game, I will usually set a daily income of a ludicrous amount. That way I play the same game for a long time. Because I just love playing these Tycoon games. It's very a standard business fare. Who can make the most money in a day? Who can get to a certain value of total net worth? Max number of customers by the year 2020 and whatnot. It's one of those games. It's supposed to be formatted like a traditional game of Monopoly, where there is a goal to achieve, and you are after that goal. So, how do you get there? Well, there are a lot of different ways to make money in this game, and spend money. We'll start with spending money first, because it's easiest to explain. You spend money by buying blocks, which is what it is on the tin, you know. Purchasing city blocks so that you, A, don't have to pay the lease, your rent to the city, and also, you can make money off of other people that have built on that block. So if you have a lease on that block, you're making money from your opponents. Very stealthy way of making money. So you can also buy railroads and utilities. I mentioned earlier that this has kind of a Monopoly sheen on it. So, in terms of buying, you can buy all of the color groups that you would find on a traditional Monopoly board. They even do you the solid of putting one extra color on there, brown, before the game officially had brown properties in 2008. So, this was a prototype. So you can buy those blocks and make money, make the rent money while you own the blocks. You can also buy railroads. There are 4 railroads in the game, just like there are 4 railroads in Monopoly. Easy enough. And the money you make from those railroads, you know, doubles. It doesn't double every time. You instead add $250. Because otherwise, if it doubled every time, like in official Monopoly, you would make money pretty quickly. So that was kind of a nerf on that part. But you also can own utilities. However, unlike the Monopoly game, there are 4 utilities to own here. You've got the traditional 2, the electric and water company. You also have a gas company and a telecoms that you can buy. Another way you can spend money and in turn make money is by building things and selling things. So, 2 different categories of buildings here. Residential and retail, pretty self-explanatory. So, residential, you can build apartments, or, just like in traditional Monopoly fare, if you lease a color group, if you lease all of the properties in a color group, you can build hotels on them. If you're in the daily profit game, I would recommend doing that because you can make money twice off of the same person by building retail. In the game, you have access to this map that you can use to, like, ask various apartment buildings, hey, what do you want? And then you can plop down the buildings that will sell the things that they want. So you get to make money off of them for their rent, and you can build the retail stores right next door that sell what they want. Money, serious business, you know. That's how you build things, and in turn spend money to make money. Each color has a prestige value that defines, you know, desirability. So, and it is broken down how it would be in a normal Monopoly game, where the dark purples and the fresh brown properties have a low prestige, so you can just slap up cheap apartments and people will be thrilled that they're even there. But the greens and the dark blues have a high prestige value that you have to spend some serious money on the buildings to make work. Otherwise, people are just not going to live there and pay the insane rent prices that you set. So prestige can be bumped up by building park areas so that you can charge more rent and make more money. Serious business. And also, the higher prestige a block is, the more you can charge for your retail goods. It's not so cut and dry, but, I mean, there you go. And when you're building your buildings, there is that wealth to consider as well. So you can slap up your cheap apartments for Mediterranean Avenue, and if you happen to have enough money to build a massive apartment block on Boardwalk, select that high quality appearance button, and watch all your money drain away. The goal is to, out-earn, out-value, and just generally put down your competition, because it is a defined game like Monopoly. You have the Monopoly-isms in the game. I freaking love this game. I have loved this game for 22 years. This was one of my favorite business tycoon games ever. It's one of my longest running, up until you get Mad Games Tycoon in like 2016, and Game Dev Story from like 2013 or 14. Anything where you make a product and make money doing it, I just generally like doing. This one goes all the way back to 2001. Falls in line with my love of tycoon games in general, because this Roller Coaster Tycoon has a similar end goal in mind, where you build the theme park to make the money. In the end, it's not about building a kick-ass theme park. It's about making money. So any tycoon game I'll play, even Mall Tycoon, I played that back in the day. This, by far, is one of my favorites, and a game that I usually go back to about every 2 to 3 years. I'll play this game again. So, pick it up on abandonware site of your choice. Pretty sure there's no massive copyright ensuing thing that they'll do for you getting the game through an abandonware site. And if there is, you can pick up a copy on eBay for like $10. It's not a very... It is definitely worth it at that price, and it's not a very expensive game at all. So, have at it.